Is this the best burger of 2025? It is crispy, it's juicy, and it's extremely tasty. So why not?
Big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
I'm talking about the Slug burger. If you want to start by blaming anybody, go to Kent Rollins, because I saw his video and that put me onto this. So basically it's all Kent Rollins' fault.
God bless you each and every one, and I'll see you down the Slugburger trail.
So one of his last history deep dives was the Slug burger. Now if you want the full details of what, where, when, you're going to go to Kent Rollins' video. I'll link it down below. But what I do want to tell you is a little short version of it, because it's not about slugs. It is about a burger that is extremely cheap, or at least that is where its origins came from. Something about a Great Depression and people needing cheap food. Kind of always like cheap food. And that reminded me of a burger that we have in the Netherlands. It's a burger that we actually throw in the deep fryer. It's basically our deep fryer burger. Now in the Netherlands, this is the cheapest burger you can get. You can either throw it on a grill frozen, or you can throw it in a fryer frozen. It doesn't really matter as long as you put enough sauce on it. Then it will taste reasonably good and you're going to be happy with the end result. And the reason that you're happy is not because it tastes so good. The reason that you're happy that it actually turned out pretty okay. The inspiration is what Kent Rollins did with that burger. When I saw how crispy that burger was, it kind of reminded me of a nice fried chicken. So here's the plan. We're going to make a cheap version of this burger, and then we're going to follow it up and see if we can upgrade it a little bit. First step in the process is always the meat. I've got some leftover beef ribs and I've got a really cheap cut, which honestly I didn't know what to do with it. So I thought this is going to be perfect for my minced meat. A bunch of scraps and a bunch of meat that I don't know what else to do with. I'm going to cut the bones off the meat. Of course, save the bones for the soup. Cut off any tendons and then cut it into cubes. And then of course I'm going to grind it up. Now I've got a big pile of minced meat and we're going to turn it into that slug burger. Did I already tell you that slug doesn't stand for a slug? It's basically old slang for a nickel. And that is the reference to a very, very cheap burger. Okay, the thing is, if you want to make a cheap burger, you want to use as little meat as possible. We're going to add a potato starch. Now in the Netherlands, we make potato starch, we make potato flakes. But potato flakes these days, in the Netherlands, we don't have them. Like, we ship them to the USA. That's why we don't have any. I looked for them, wasn't able to get them on short-term notice. Now, that doesn't really matter because the flakes are not the part that makes the burger great. As a matter of fact, over time they replaced the potato flakes with soy grit. Okay, that is even worse. You don't want to do that. So I'm going back to the old version, which is with beef, and not the soy grit pork version. So I'm going to make sure I have about 80% lean meat, 20% fat meat. And to that I'm going to add the potato starch. If you want and you think you need it, you can add an egg. But I think this meat is plenty of moist and the starch of the potato is pretty strong. It can hold it together. Another thing that you want to do is really knead the meat. You want to squeeze it as tight as you can until it turns into a paste. And if you think you can add a little bit more potato starch, add a little bit more potato starch. Now there's another thing we need to think about when we're frying a burger, because one of the main features of the slug burger, which make it great, is the fact that it's fried. And the thing that I'm thinking of the most is that it is impossible to season meat when it's fried. Either you have to do it afterwards or you have to do it before. Now I think typically we want to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, so I'm going to use the Pitmaster Texas seasoning, which got a little bit of both and a little bit extra to make everything fantastic. And I'm going to put that in the mix. Now alright, I got my burgers ready, shaped, good to go. Now let's heat up a pan. Of course I'll be using what they used to use, and that is a cast iron skillet. And that's going to go on my Napoleon outdoor kitchen. I'm just going to put it on, warm it up. Now I'm going to need some fat, and for that I'll be using beef tallow. In Dutch we call it oxwhite. Also, I'm just going to get a chunk out of this. There we go. In the skillet and just let it melt. Now I want a shallow fry. Basically I need to be able to flip this, do a shallow fry in it, because we need a little longer cooking time. So we want it crispy outside, but we still want it cooked all the way through. Remember, it's not like a real burger where you want it medium rare in the middle. Because if you have that starch medium rare, it's not going to be as great. and that's why we also need that fat. The beef tallow is now 140 degrees Celsius. Now normal frying temperatures is about 180 degrees Celsius, but we're going to take it slowly to build up the crust, so we can actually fully cook the steak when the crust is done. Now, another step that I'm doing is I'm going to take my spatula and warm it up in the oil, in beef tallow I should say. And then I'm going to take my burger, flip it onto the spatula, and now it just slides into the beef tallow. There we go. Slide it in. Oh, look at that. And as you can see by the bubbles, 140 degrees Celsius is enough for frying. The burger is in now 4 minutes, and I want to see if I can do a flip and what it looks like. Ooh, that is looking good. Do a flip on the spatula, and as you can see, the flip is required. So two things that I instantly noticed. We definitely do need a flip. I thought maybe it just fried on the bottom as well, but you can see there's a little bit of gray. And of course I want it as crispy as I can get it. And the meat shrinks up like crazy, which makes the burger a lot higher, sticking out of the beef tallow while frying. That cheap burger deserves a cheap bun, so I'm going to get the cheapest white burger bun that you can find in the Netherlands. And the only thing that you would use to get on a burger was mustard. There was no ketchup. So a little bit of mustard, there we go. Now let's take out that burger. I'm going to let it drip out over the grill grates next to the pan. The total frying time of the burger was about 6 minutes. And I'm just looking for a really good crust and not focusing as much on the core temperature as I normally would. And I do want to leave it on the grill for at least 2 minutes for the beef tallow to just drip off, so we can have an enjoyable eating experience without feeling too heavy on the fried beef. Let's put that burger on the patty. White onion, of course. And if you use raw white onion, always use the sweet kind. Then pickles, and on goes the cap. Now that is the original Slug burger. Okay, we got to talk about this burger. I absolutely love the way that the patty looks. Look at how fried this is. Wow, that is a crunch. The weird thing is that it doesn't really taste like a burger to me. It's kind of weird, but it doesn't have that burger vibe. It's more like a fried meatloaf. This is a totally new experience for me, and I kind of love that the Slug burger is really something on its own. But the real question is, can we bring this old version of a Slug burger to 2025? Now, I'm going to start off with the same patties. So the other two that I've got left over, I'm going to use those. But I kind of felt that the burger was a little bland, especially when you're not grilling it over charcoal. Is I'm going to season it with a little bit of Pitmaster X all-purpose seasoning. Hopefully, that's going to give us that little oomph that we need, so that we're going to have an even better burger. Of course, I'm going to apply it on both sides. So the same process applies. Greasy spatula, get that burger, got that sizzle going on, and drop it in. Whoa. I'm frying a little hotter than I did before. I'm now up to 170 degrees Celsius. Hopefully now I'm going to get a crusty exterior, but a less cooked through interior. So I'm going to put a little mustard on the bun, but I'm not going to use the cheapest bun. I'm going to use a little pumped version of a burger bun. I do want to keep the onions and pickles, but I'm also going to put them at the bottom. 3 slices of onion and 3 slices of pickles. After 3 minutes of cooking, I'm going to take out the burger. Look at that color now. Much darker, and it definitely cooked a lot faster. So I want a double patty, so I'm going to put in the other one, fry too. And while the grease is dripping off, I'm going to put 2 slices of young Gouda cheese on. I'm also going to close the lid so the cheese gets an opportunity to melt, and we keep the burger patty warm. That looks freaking amazing. Look at this bun. Look at this patty. It's crispy. It's got the modern version of the cheese on it. Oh. Of course, you can put your own burger sauce on it. And we have many recipes on the website, so definitely check that out, pitmasterx.com. Or you can just buy a really good burger sauce, drizzle it on, and just let the whole thing come together. And that is my modern day version of a Slug burger. It's Instagrammable, it's definitely crispy, and it's got loads of cheese, and we love cheese. And I'm curious about the whole experience now. Is it going to be a good idea to improve the Slug burger, or should we just stick to the old cheap version? There we go. Okay, I do recommend one patty. This is a bit crazy. It doesn't make any sense. I can't even bite it in one bite. But let me take one more bite, then I'll give you the lowdown. This is it. We nailed it. It hits the spot. We filled up all the gaps of what was missing in the old burger while keeping all the good authentic things like the crispy bits, like the onion, the pickle, the mustard, and all we did was add a little cheese and some barbecue sauce, and now we have something that if you serve this up in a restaurant, you're gonna have a line waiting around the corner. So big thanks, Kent Rollins, for the inspiration. Now if you want to make this at home, you can find the recipe of course on our website. Go check it out. See you guys. Cheers.